What's up, everybody? How are you? Welcome to the special edition. I'm honored and happy to have my brother here to talk about his illustrious career in promotion and his upcoming last venue. For those that don't know, even promoters and event planners can have a termination date when we want to. With that being said, this is Bill Forster. This is Real Talk Chronicles. This is a special edition, Legends and Promotions. And let me run down the sponsors real quick. It's sponsored by Soft Illusions Art Gallery, which is my wife and her mother's business. That's out of Philly. I'll maybe have her put the website in there later. Also, it's sponsored by Reggie Wells Quality Speakers. If you want his speakers, here they are. They're in this nice case for protection, and they go for $85. But if you mention Real Talk Chronicles, he'll sell them to you for $75. So you also need a break. It's also sponsored by the Deadly Arts of Survival magazine, special edition. This is the Jiu-Jitsu one. This should be close to Dave's heart. We have our brother in Zen, Anthony Muhammad.
Oh, my brother, yes.
Also, too, we have a good article in here on. I'm gonna show Dave the picture for those that are out there listening. Grandmaster Bill McLeod, that's Dave's teacher. So,
all right,
right. So, #1 magazine on Amazon. You can check that out and get that. It's also sponsored by Leon Ellis Chocolat and Melba Wilson. So we've got to the sponsors. Shout out to everybody. If you're watching it from Facebook, please share it so people can see what's going on. And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to it so you can get all the up and coming content that I will post and give and share. Let me run down the venue. On the first Monday of every month, we have Assemblyman Al Taylor in the building. We're talking politics and a lot of things that's going on in this world today. The second Monday of the month, we have Dr. Marilyn Corder. We all need to know about what's going on with our health, and she's giving insight and things of that magnitude. The third Monday of the month, we have Allison Williams, which my wife and Allison and I did yesterday, which was a good show. And the fourth Monday, we used to have Pastor Kevin Graves, but we're going to be doing something different because he's been called away to do other things. He's still part of the family. And on Wednesdays, we have Kevin Branzetti and myself, along with other individuals that come on and converse about law enforcement issues and things of that magnitude. And I always decided, because I have a promotional background myself, formerly known as 4-Star Entertainment, First Nubian Gold, and now, when you reach a status, you can just go by Bill Forster, your name, which I do a brunch party the third Saturday of every month with my boys, Assorted Flavor, which is awesome. Please come out and check out Beautiful People. We call it Beautiful People Brunch Party. Come out and check that out. And with that and saying all of that, tonight I have a special guest. I have Mr. Dave Sheppard of DMS Productions. I will let him tell you what DMS stands for. If you don't know, you better figure it out on your own right now. I kind of gave you a good hint. So without further ado, let me introduce my brother in law enforcement, my brother in the arts, and my brother in promotions. And we've developed a great relationship, and I'm happy to call him my friend. And he's been on the show before to talk about COVID, law enforcement, and things of that magnitude. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Mr. Dave Sheppard. What's up, Dave?
What's up, Bill? The first thing I want to say is thank you so much for bringing me onto your show, man. I feel privileged. I feel proud, and I feel happy that you thought about me. And we're going to just get into it.
We're going to chop it up. We're definitely going to chop it up. So
yes,
first and foremost, Dave, when did the concept of ever promoting come to your mind? How did you start?
Well, it was back in 1977. Get a little personal here. I was in a relationship, and the relationship, like some relationships do happen, they break up. And I was in an apartment by myself for the first time living by myself. So and that was in Parkchester. So I decided to give a little get together with a few friends, and we had food. We brought liquor, and I was the DJ. I had 2 bedrooms, and I ran a speaker from one bedroom to the living room, and I had all of my one turntable in my bedroom, and I ran the music through the different rooms, and I started giving house parties, free house parties. People would bring their own liquor, their own food, and whatnot, and it started to build a little bit. It made me feel like I was part of something for a minute.
Right.
People were coming in. I wasn't lonely. When you live by yourself, it's a lot different for the first time.
Absolutely.
As a young adult. I was 22, 23 years old.
Okay.
So that's, that took off for a minute, for about 2 years, until they stole my Brothers Johnson album and flooded my toilet.
Yeah. We had to stop that house party because, trust me, I know what you mean. Doing house events, people forget that it's your house. Once they start consuming that liquor, it gets a little different, right?
That's right. And then they would start to smoke and cigarettes and other things in the hallway. And then you got neighbors, So my cousin convinced me to go someplace else, which was the Stardust Ballroom in the Bronx on Boston Road.
All right.
And I had worked for Loman's at that time. So they had a lot of young people my age that were friends with me, and they came to support me. Plus Edenmore Projects, where I'm from, they came to support me. My basketball friends came to support me, and it took off from there.
Okay, so you started doing house parties. Now you're doing house parties. And how many did you do? Do you recall? Or
oh no, I would say every 4 or 5 months I would do a party. Yeah, for that 2 years, from 77 to 79, it would be maybe 3 or 4 parties a year, because I got to clean that stuff up by myself. So I wasn't too eager to throw a party.
Right.
Like I said, they stole my Brothers Johnson album, and that really pissed me off.
Right.
Flooded my toilet. You know how that could be, man.
Yeah. So, okay, now you're doing, this is 77. You're doing parties. Were they crowded or was it quaint? Like, what made you decide to move to another location?
Because it was free, and because I had a few female friends that would cook. I had one friend, Audrey. She was a monster. She was a beast with the food. Rice and peas were always on the menu. She was the first one to get me to really like chicken legs and chicken wings. At that time, I only wanted the breast.
Right.
She would oven roast the wings and the legs, and they were off the chain. And then she did that jerk seasoning, and that was crazy good. So behind that, it was free food. People brought their own bottles. Bring your own stuff. But I got tired of all the mess, and my neighbors they liked me, but they didn't report me. They came to me up front and said, "Dave, these parties are getting a little out of hand here." So,
right. People lingering in the hallways or wherever.
Yeah. And then what the main thing that happened was people were showing up that I didn't even know.
Right.
Wasn't that many, but it was enough that I said, something? I don't think I want all these, strange people in my house anymore.
Yeah.
Especially after they stole my Brothers Johnson album.
Yeah, not Brothers Johnson. Not that album, man.
They took that. That was one of my favorites. Their first album, man. That was my favorite album, man. Somebody took that. It didn't walk out the door by itself.
No, yeah, we knew somebody had sticky fingers with that. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I really don't. But anyway, my cousin Kevin, rest in peace, he passed away last year. He convinced me to go. Thank you. He convinced me to go to the Stardust Ballroom. And once I went there and I gave a few parties, it just took off.
Okay.
From there. And I had, the DJs that were popular during that time, and some people here that are listening may remember these brothers, the Together Brothers.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember the Together Brothers were the prime DJs during that time back in 79, 80, 81, 82.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started the business, I called it DMS Productions because D stands for David, M stands for Michael, and the S stands for Sheppard. So DMS Productions.
Yeah.
I met a lot of good brothers along the way. The original Bachelors in Blue.
Mm-hmm.
That was Bill, who was the president, Bill Rose.
Right.
You had Lonnie. You had Darren. You had Larry. You had Darren. It was 5 of them. I don't remember everybody's name.
Right.
But
right.
Bill taught me so much about the business. It was crazy. We used to hang out together and go to different clubs to pass out flyers. And I would help him. And he would give away free tickets. I said, Bill, why are you giving away free tickets? He said, Dave, ticket sales are not doing that well. He says, if I'm going to do bad, I'm not going to look bad. So,
Very true. Very true,
pay-
because a lot of people don't know in promotions, only a real promoter can, I mean, well, I won't say a real promoter because once you promote something, you can tell.
A seasoned promoter.
Yeah, a seasoned promoter can tell the difference. Like I can come to an event and I can tell the difference of who's making money. If that promoter's making that money that night, or he just has an event. And that's not to any fault of his own. That could be just because of weather. Yeah, it could be just ticket sales were bad or something else was going on, or, traveling season. So, I mean, we could talk, Dave and I, we could definitely talk about the art of promoting too. When do you throw functions and how do you throw them and things of that magnitude? Because it really is an art. And we could talk about, so as you're growing, talk about how you started growing. Like, how did you develop a team, or like, what was this just? Because a lot of us that do know from social media has made it easier to promote now. In lieu of, we used to have to be out there at parties literally passing out a paper flyer and giving it to a person. And then you would hire people to pass out your flyers. Shout out to all the people that have helped me along my way. And I'm sure it helped you, that would stay out there at nights at the hours that you knew you wasn't going to be out there unless you was closing out the party. You know what I'm saying? Because parties back then started at 10 and went to 4 in the morning. Now things have changed. We do early events because we're a little older, and we know if we get home and we take off them shoes and rub our feet together, it's a wrap, brother.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Well, what I did, you're right about everything you just said. We would also develop a mailing list.
Yes.
Mail out flyers.
Yes.
Okay. What I was able to do, and a vision, I dealt with people who were people persons. They like people, and people who had accessibility to people, like teachers, postal workers, corrections, fire, who were always around a lot of people, and people who made themselves accessible to people, who were always going out and always hanging out. So those people I would recruit to sell tickets and pass out flyers. Right. But I'm gonna tell you something. I thoroughly enjoyed passing out flyers.
Yeah.
And I also would go to an event, and the cars, I would put flyers on the cars. That was easy peasy, because you didn't have to worry about them looking at the flyer and giving it back to you.
Yeah, because that was a big thing too. Right.
Oh, if I give somebody a flyer, at least they can take it and look at it or throw it away later. But they'll take it, I don't want that flyer.
Yeah.
And that would hurt my feelings.
Absolutely. Listen, trust me.
I got a nice, colorful flyer. You're going to give it right back to me. So, I don't want this.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Shout out to the people that's watching, chiming in. Shout out to Rochelle Hodges, family of the legendary, rest in peace to Silk, a good friend of mine and brother too. So thank you, Rochelle, for always supporting RTC. Yeah. Shout out to everybody supporting RTC. And so listen, those flyers were introduction. Not Silk. Shout out to Sparkle. He used to say to me, he said, yo, Face, he said, this flyer is your business card. So you had to make sure you had a good flyer. You couldn't give somebody a little cheesy flyer. Because Dave, I'm sure you've experienced this, just like you was just saying. You put a flyer and you try to give it to somebody, and they try to read it in your hand, and they decide whether they want to take it or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That. And when they give it back to me, I'm like saying, "Damn, what the heck?"
Yeah, definitely. So okay, so now you're doing your first big your venue. You're doing Stardust in the Bronx, right?
Yeah, I started in the Bronx at the Stardust Ballroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I could use some water. I don't have a flyer. I need a flyer. Anyway, I started at the Stardust Ballroom in the Bronx, and that took off. So I wanted to venture out because I was getting tired of just staying in one place. So my next event took place at Bentley's, but I could not use the name Bentley's. I had to use the name Say Chic.
So you're talking about the Bentley's downtown on 40th Street, yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I bounced from, and I had a tremendous response from that. You had upstairs, downstairs. I did a fashion show, took the fashion show from downstairs and had the models go upstairs and bring it down. A lot of work, but it was worth it. People enjoyed themselves. That was a good look.
Okay.
And I jumped from Bentley's to Pegasus, which was on 2nd Avenue. Yeah. Okay. From Pegasus to Leviticus. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Laughs.
Thank you. Yeah. So let me ask you a question now around this time. Give me some years. Pegasus, Leviticus.
Year? I wish I had brought my flyers with me. That would have been even better. Because I still have my flyers. I still have the flyers. I have a 1980s Leviticus flyer. Mm-hmm. And the first time I was in Leviticus, those 5 brothers were running it. I can't remember their names. Mm-hmm. And there was a brother by the name of Leonard Washington, Oliver Productions. He was about 3 or 4 years older than me. He was very innovative. He always wore a suit and tie. Okay. And I copied that suit because I used to wear just a regular pants. I started wearing suit and ties behind what he did. Mm-hmm. He was the first brother to acquire a room in Manhattan called the Change of Pace. Now, there were several rooms, actually. That I believe there were 3 rooms. One room was jazz, another room was comedy, and the other room was a party room. Mm. So they would be after hours. So when you leave the party, there's another party after hours. You would leave about 1, 2, 3 o'clock. And then, I'm going to the other spot because they're still open. Yeah. And then from there, when you leave that spot, you go to breakfast and you go to work.
Listen, I was just talking about that with somebody. Listen, we used to party so hard and go right back to work the next day like nothing ever happened. We may sleep the whole day and a half after, but the bottom line is that was a whole different era in partying. Today's partying is totally different, and we'll discuss how things have changed. But
how different? Day parties. Never heard of those.
Right. No, but there was no such thing. There was no such thing as a day party.
No such thing. The day party was a kid party.
It was.
1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Send their butts home so they could go to sleep early.
Yeah.
They're all worn out.
Trust me. And then like I said, so we're looking at maybe. Look, I'm thinking about Leviticus, Pegasus,
and Laughs.
Laughs
had that spiral staircase to go upstairs. I did an event there too.
Yeah, so we're thinking because I'm trying to date myself. We're talking, I guess, about 83, 4, maybe around then, right? Yeah. So because those are the times when I was trying to go to a club and I was just begging for some baby hair, some facial hair. You know what I'm trying to say? To get in,
Yeah.
Hey, Debbie.
I had it early.
Yeah,
I had the hair early. I had a dark beard, and it was always close crop, but it was a beard nonetheless.
Right. So now you okay. So now you got a little wind behind your sail. So you're doing Leviticus, Pegasus, Bentley's,
Laughs 1 and 2.
Laughs. How often were you doing parties in maybe a year, you think?
Because it entailed so much work and money. And then I had, at that time in 1980, I got married.
Mm-hmm.
And then my daughter, my youngest daughter, rolled around in 83.
Okay.
So when I got married, the hanging out started to slow down a little bit, because it was just so involved with hanging out and I didn't want to put my wife through that. And then when my daughter came around, I really didn't want to put her through me. Because see, when I go in, I go hard.
Absolutely.
I go hard all the time. I did the Resorts World Casino 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That place holds 2,000 people. I had 1,500 in there.
Yes,
that
I remember.
Crazy. It was a blue and white affair. I had Melissa Morgan on the bill. I had Jeff Red on the bill, Capone. I had two DJs, Tommy Allen, rest in peace, my brother.
Rest in peace, Tommy, good guy.
Yeah, and Juan Kuhn.
Yes.
And I had everybody in there. All the promoters came around to hang out. Like I don't charge promoters.
Absolutely. See, that's an old school thing. And let me just say this, just for those new promoters that you're listening, a promoter would never charge another promoter because we knew the work that he had to put into it. And a lot of times, and correct me if I'm wrong in what everything I'm saying, we knew that there was a bar guarantee. So in essence, a lot of times we didn't even promote sometimes on the same night because you wanted everybody to get that money, depending on how people intertwined. Some people may just come to everybody parties. There are people out there we know that party with everybody. And then there's some people that just party selectively with you. But what you would do is you would let a promoter in and he would go patronize your bar because most of the time you would have some kind of bar guarantee that you would have to meet. But then that promoter would tell people, because there isn't any promoter out here that has a following on a given night. Somebody might call you and say, hey, Dave, what are you doing? You're like, I'm going to Bill's party. Or Bill, what you doing tonight? I'm going to Dave's party. So they know if you go into that party, it must be something worthy going. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
Yes. And that bar guarantee is crazy. It can be.
Yeah.
But I prefer, let everybody who's new promoters in the business, I would prefer a bar guarantee as opposed to a rental. Absolutely. Because when you do a straight up rental, they still get the bar. All right, you get nothing unless you have an agreement or something. Absolutely. I would rather have a bar guarantee. Let's say the bar guarantee is $1,000.
Yeah,
that's minimum. If you don't make that bar guarantee, let's say you sell, they make $800. They're gonna make more than that, but
yeah,
they make $800. That means you only have to give them $200. You see,
so
I always look for the bar guarantee as opposed to a straight up rental. With a straight up rental, they double dipping because they're paying you for the place and they're making money off the liquor, and possibly if they have food, they're making money off the food also.
Absolutely. Rochelle said, she said, that's right. We partied and went to work. I had the nerve to work on Wall Street. Yeah, sis.
Hey, I think I know who that is.
Yeah, you might know Rochelle Hodges. Yeah, you might know. Exactly. Because that was it back then. We would party and go home and change. And for those that were already in the civil service, you had to go, if you worked a Sunday, you had to get there. Now, like you said, depending on where you worked at, man, oh my God, if you did it during the week, because partying at certain spots, we started doing after work venues.
Right.
That became a big thing too.
Right.
So go ahead, I'll let you continue. But it is a beautiful thing to bring a lot of people together. I think a lot of people don't have that talent. I think you and I have been blessed to have that, and for all the promoters that can do that. Because now let me ask you a question. You give certain kind of themes, right? You give blue and white, maybe. And what do you put in? You put in like a comedian or a fashion show or something like that? What do you do?
Well, I changed up with, let me start from I just straight up gave parties from the beginning, but I wanted to give them a little more for their money. And I would have either somebody who can sing or somebody who plays an instrument or a comedian. It wouldn't be a full-on show, but it would just be an added taste of something. But I got into the comedy business in 92.
Okay. All right.
And that really took off because I had Hamburger, the the comedian Hamburger.
Absolutely.
My host.
Hamburger. Yep.
Yes, and 2 months before I gave my show, he was on Def Jam, and everybody wanted to see him. So when I gave my first comedy show 2 months after he was on Def Jam on TV, I gave it at the Sports Bar on 77th Street and Broadway. That place can hold 400. I had 401.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we packed that place out. But I prefer giving shows now and then the after party, because most people now, as they get older, past 40 something, they want to sit down and be entertained. I mean, there's still a lot of us out there that like to shake a leg.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the ones that just want to sit down and be entertained and then shake a little leg for about 5 or 6 minutes and then go home.
Absolutely.
But I started the theme of Blue and White when I turned 60.
Okay.
I'll be 70 this month. And that Blue and White theme and the birthday parties, it's been working extremely well. I'm just a little worn out from the party thing. So this coming Saturday, July 30th, at the Alhambra Ballroom in Harlem, where I was born, where my parents lived for a minute. Then we moved to the Bronx. I'm taking it back there because that's where it started for me. You know, as a baby, I came out dancing.
There you go. Exactly. Shout out to everybody. And we're going to talk more about that too. Shout out to everybody chiming in. We got the talented Irving Panton in the building, phenomenal photographer. We got Debbie Jackson in the building. Shout out to Debbie in the building, legendary
Debbie.
Yeah, she got a lot of credits.
That's my girl, Debbie.
Exactly. With that being said,
WBLS.
Yes, WBLS. So let me ask you a question. Now we're you're doing events, you're moving along in this game. Your crowd is growing, your themes. How often did you start doing parties like you said, as you kept growing? Did your parties per year grow, or you just look for bigger venues and did more smaller parties? Like when I say like that, I mean like, you know, when Mike, Eddie, and I were doing parties, at one point we was pumping out like every 6 weeks. But you know, every promoter has their hot points. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
For all promoters out there, if you can't, you know, if you're good at this game, if you can't blow out your birthday party. If you do a birthday party and nobody comes, you might as well just start going to something else. Maybe you try to be a DJ or something, or security.
Yeah.
But so that was our hot period. Now, this is your last party coming up, and I'm sure it's going to be a phenomenal event. But let me ask you a question. At one point, did you ever come into a dry spell, or did you
would always have, you would always, I didn't mean to cut you off. Bro.
No, go ahead.
You would always come a time where there's a dry spell. There also will be a time where you may lose some money, and there'll be a time when you may break even. But you know, the most important thing in giving an event is that everybody there, whether it's 10 people or 10,000, that they all have a good time. Because you could bring in 5,000-6,000 people and it can be a disastrous event. And that what happens when you have a bad event and you have that many people there, that's how many people are going to spread that news that it was a messed up event.
Yeah.
And that's not good for a promoter. In fact, you're only good as your last good deed. I mean, you could have 10 wonderful events, but your last event that sucked, I mean, really was bad, you have all those people there to talk about your event. And not everybody's going to, some people will understand, but all you need is one person to start spreading the rumor.
Oh, man.
Problems. Yeah, that's all you need is one person. But the most important thing when you're giving an event is that everybody there feels like, and you have to greet people. But what they don't sometimes understand is that we're there to work. Yeah. It's not fun for us. Like for me, I'm in charge of the door, making sure everybody's cool at the door. Getting my tickets, my ticket money sometimes comes through the door. people have not been able to contact before because they wait till the last minute, and that's okay. And I'm in charge of everything that's going on, making sure everybody's happy and that things are running well. There's a lot, that's involved, and your head's constantly spinning. But everybody wants to greet you, and I understand. Hey, Dave, how you doing? Yeah. And I'm thinking, oh man, I gotta go to the door. I gotta get this money from this person, get that money from that person.
Yeah.
It's tables and chairs. That's another issue. Dave, I need a chair. I need a table. You came 4 hours late.
Yeah. That is kind of missing right now. Yeah, exactly. Like, you came 4 hours.
Happens.
Don't expect to get the same thing you were supposed to got when you got there. You're supposed to have been there at 11 or
I'll tell everybody come early.
Yeah.
Your seats are not guaranteed. Your entertainment is guaranteed. The venue is guaranteed. Unless you buy a table, seats are not guaranteed.
Yeah. So, let me ask you a question. We're going to jump back and forth. The party coming up now, your last one. Your 70th birthday.
Last one, yeah. I think it's appropriate that the 70th be the last one.
All right. Explain why.
That's platinum. That's platinum, baby.
Yeah, there you go.
How can you get better than platinum, huh?
Absolutely. So let me ask you a question. Are you tired of promoting, or are you just ready to go? You just ready to go out on top?
It's my last party, but I plan to give concerts.
Okay, see.
No more parties. I wasn't saying that, but I'll tell you.
Yeah, but see, that's a real talk moment, everybody. See, the evolution,
Yeah.
And shout out to the people like that have done that. I had thought about trying to do stuff like that, and it kind of ran into a bad experience. But people like Lincoln Sessons, who was a mentor to me, him and Melvin, and people like that. But Lincoln does like concerts and things of that magnitude. So shout out to
Lincoln is a beast with the concerts.
Yeah.
He does it once a year, but when he does it, it's like 110.
Yeah.
On steroids.
Yeah, very much.
I went to the last event, man. It was crazy. It was like, I thought this was supposed to be a pandemic. I mean, that place was, it was packed out. I mean, he had a hell of an event, and he had a great lineup of artists. I got to give it to him.
Yeah,
give it to him.
So let me ask you a question. How did you feel? How do you like dealing with the artist? Like, explain to the people out there listening what it's like to book an artist, because the bottom line is, you when they come, they just see the finished product. They don't know what it's like to deal with the artist. And I'm not trying to talk about any bad situations and things, but the bottom line is, and I'm not trying to say give you a checklist of how to get an artist. I'm just saying, what made you decide to say, okay, well, I'm going to get this artist. I like this artist, because you had you stayed with maybe a R&B kind of entertainment.
Well, I'm jazz and R&B.
Okay,
I worked with Roy Ayers, was my first jazz artist, major jazz artist to work with when I was at Jimmy's Uptown in Harlem.
Okay,
remember that spot?
Absolutely.
Now, I was promoting comedy for a year there upstairs. And I went to the owner and I said, you know what? I'd like to do one jazz show a month. And he said, fine, because I was blowing the place up every Thursday with comedy.
Okay.
The comedy shows there were so explosive. I had comics coming there that were not booked, that just wanted to go on for free, because the crowd was just so ready excited and ready for them. And I've had Talent, Capone, Rob Stapleton, Joe Kelly, all in one house, and none of them were on the bill, just hanging out. So he knew that I can draw a crowd. And I had a 2-show event on a Friday with Roy Ayers, and both shows were sold out. So then I just said, well, this is nice. So I'm going to stick with doing a little bit of jazz and a little. I like to do variety, because people like variety. Right. When you go eat, you're going to have your starch. You're going to have your meat. You're going to have your vegetables. That's how I look at it. Yeah. You have a little bit of everything.
Absolutely. So, shout out to the comedians that you just mentioned, friends of ours both, and watch how they've grown into the business that they are, where if you don't want to call them 1A comedians, you can call them definitely B comedians, B with a 1A slash, because they are definitely doing their thing and they're living off of that. So shout out to all those comedians that I appreciate them all. Maybe one day I'll get them on and chop it up with them and they'll talk about their careers. But so now you're getting raw airs, you're doing the comedy. How long did you stay at Jimmy's?
Ooh, I started at Jimmy's Bronx Cafe in 94, 95, something like that. I remember Mike Epps was one of my comedians there.
Yeah.
Jimmy Rodriguez, who owned the spot, he had
Shout out to Jimmy.
Yes, he had just opened up the spot, and he didn't know me and wasn't sure if he wanted me there, but somebody convinced him that I knew what I was doing. And my first show, he gave me a bar guarantee. I said, that's okay with me because my people drink.
Absolutely.
You know, law enforcement, they drink, man. Yeah. So he made so much money that night that the next day, the next event that I gave, he did not charge me for the venue. And I said, whoa, this is great. So I gave a number of events there every 2 to 3 months and doing extremely well until somebody, not on my night, during the day, shot somebody in front of the place. And then that put a bad taste in everybody's mouth, especially since my people were basically more law enforcement, PD, corrections, and all that, civil service workers. And that killed that. Then after a couple of years, I branched out to other places. I went to the Irving Plaza downtown.
Okay.
That held about 1,000 people. I had about maybe 800 people in there. I was sponsored by Bud Light. And then I bounced around to a place called the 5 Spot, I think it was called, Nice Spot. And then I went to Sweetwater's, but they called it Honeysuckle West then.
Yes.
Not Sweetwater's anymore. And
Right.
Talon and I gave about 3 shows there. So then Jimmy opened up a spot in Harlem.
Yes.
It was in 2000. And the beginning of 2001, I started my comedy there every Thursday night. And I was killing them. I had a comedy show in the beginning from 8 to about 10. Then there was the after party. And everybody was coming through there. I met people like Mike Tyson came through there, not at my show, but downstairs in the dinner area. Derek Jeter, met him. Harry Belafonte, Isaac Hayes. I went to Isaac Hayes. I said, yeah, I'm Richard Roundtree's cousin.
Exactly.
He looked up at me. He said, well, you do look like him a little bit.
There you go. Exactly. Shout out.
And I met this beautiful young lady. God bless her soul. She's not around. Aaliyah. Aaliyah had a new album out. Remember Aaliyah, the girl?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I met her, beautiful soul. And she was really nice. And she had her what do you call it? What do you call those parties? CD release parties?
Yeah, album release parties.
Album release party. Yes, sweet young lady. And that same year, as you know, she passed away in that plane crash.
Right. Yeah.
But I met a lot of people in that place.
And it's so funny that I'm going to ask you too, because we're going to let people get to know a lot more about Mr. Dave Sheppard. Now you were a correction officer, correct? Right?
Yes, 1985, I came on the job.
All right. So you and I know the job kind of fringes upon that. How are you able to maintain such a illustrious career and keep the wolves off your back? or manage both at the same time? Because corrections, you can get stuck and do a lot of overtime and things of that magnitude. So how are you able just to do both?
Well, actually, nobody really bothered me because you had to submit a outside employment paperwork, and I did that, and they never bothered me. There was only one person, a warden, and I'm not even going to mention her name because she knows who the hell she is. She was jealous of the fact that I, for whatever reason, I was passing out my flyers. I was an institutional driver for a short period of time in corrections. I was able to travel downtown to the main offices and Rikers Island and all that and pass out my flyers and give my tickets out to my ticket sellers. And she kind of knew about that and wanted to squash that, but it didn't work. She got me off the post for a minute, and I was able to go back onto the post after she left. And that was the only person that was trying to stop what I was doing. Other than that, there were depths and captains and all that coming to my shows.
Partying too.
Partying at my shows, meeting people, meeting their girlfriends, and maybe even met their wife.
Absolutely. And I got to shout out to another legendary correction officer promoter, Bam Bam. Because that's my guy. That's my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
is he on?
No, I'm what's so funny? I should have tagged him in this because I learned a lot from him too, because you guys were doing your thing with the corrections. Because same thing to me, like Mike and I had a big civil service following. Both of us, Mike was definitely predominantly transit, and then I was transit at 1 year, and then I switched over to NYPD. So it became a civil service thing with us, and that was a lot of our following. I mean, I was able to bring out people that people hadn't seen in years, which was a blessing to me, but which kept us hot and prevalent. But so let me ask you a question too, because I'm a dabble with you. Now, you're also a martial artist like myself. And when did you get into the martial arts?
Oh boy, that's crazy. Well, when I was a youngster in my teens, I was a quiet guy, and people thought my meekness was weakness. So I always had a good knuckle game from 14 to all the way up until 19 when I started training. But at 18, I had my only loss. I had about 16, 17 fights, something like that. But I had my only loss to one of the toughest guys in the projects. And I really didn't want to fight this cat because what we were fighting over, what he wanted to fight it was nonsense, hearsay or, stuff like that. So this guy, he couldn't box, and I was surprised at that, but he had to grab me because he's bigger and stronger than me. And he was older than me too. So he was a dirty fighter. I never fought a dirty fighter. When I fought guys, if I, my main thing was giving people eye jammies and punching them in the stomach, blow out the wind. Once I blew your wind out, you gave up. I wasn't trying to beat you up. I didn't want to fight in the beginning, but you want to test me. So,
Exactly.
But this guy was a dirty fighter to the point where when he got me down on the ground, he stuck his fingers in my eyes, trying to dig my eyes out. But then some cops came along and took him off of me, and it was a whole big mess. But I didn't like how that felt. I said, that didn't feel good getting beat up like that.
Absolutely.
And, he beat me up. So what happened was, my girlfriend at that time, when I was 18, lived next door to a brother who was about 4 years younger than me. And I knew he studied something, but I didn't know what. Because during that time, we only knew about Kung Fu and straight up karate with Chuck Norris and all those guys, Wallace, and Kung Fu with Bruce Lee and all them Chinese guys. We never saw jiu-jitsu on TV or the movies. And if they did, we didn't know it was jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So once you put hands on, it's either jiu-jitsu, hapkido, or aikido.
Yes.
Okay, or judo. Well, judo comes from jiu-jitsu anyway.
Yes.
But anyway, I didn't like how that felt. So I said, you know what? I'm going to come to your class. I was 19 to 20. And that little guy was 16 years old and a black belt. And I saw all this stuff he was doing. I said, oh, shoot. I said, I like this. So I joined the school. And at that time, you couldn't join the school unless somebody knew you. So he brought me in. And when I became a yellow belt, I was ready to quit. Because everybody around me was shorter than me and using me as a ukemi, the guy to throw around and everything. And I said, I didn't like this. So Then this brother came along. I don't know if you ever been to Olinville.
The gun store, yes.
Yeah, you know Dominic, the big white boy?
He told me to tell you hi.
Yeah. He came in, he was skinny then. He came in, he's 6'4", 6'5". He came in and he became my partner. Even though he was a white belt, I was yellow, he became my partner. So I said, this is okay. I got somebody big I can throw around. So I stayed with them, Fuji Dojo. And it was right there on White Plains Road, not far from the projects, 4 or 5 blocks up. Mm-hmm. And I stayed with them until I become a graded man. And then corrections roll around later on. And I started moving around to different schools. And I used to go 6 days a week, man.
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, I was with Fuji Dojo.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I was at the PAL on 183rd Street with Raheem El-Amin, who was the main teacher. He was the top student in our class. He started to move around. And Philip McCraig used to be at the, Philip McCraig. Yeah, he used to be there.
Rest in peace for Philip McCraig.
Yep. One of the two. Mm-hmm. So then we had the Muslim mosque in Woodacrest. I would be there on Saturdays. So I was going 6 days a week, man. It was crazy.
Yeah. So you're promoting, you're doing martial arts, and you're doing corrections all at the same. And you have children, correct?
Yeah. Little bad bambinos, yeah. two and two, man.
Yeah. So did you stop promoting for a while, or were you still promoting?
Yes. Okay. When my daughter rolled around in '83, and I slowed down to one show, one party a year, and then my youngest son came around '86, and then I stopped completely. And when I started back into the promotional business was in '92 with comedy shows.
Okay.
And some venues I did comedy shows and after parties, but most venues I just did a show. Because, you do a show would last hour and a half, 2 hours. You got all your money, you go home. With a party, you got to stay there 1, 2, 3. You already got your money by 12 o'clock.
Right.
And then you got to stay there until 2, 3 o'clock and hang out because there are people dancing and enjoying themselves. Mm-hmm. But that's another reason why I'm giving up the party thing, because, I start getting a little sleepy around like 9, 10 o'clock, you know what I'm saying? I get a little tired, a little sleepy. And then, you sip on a little wine, a little nightcap.
Now you looking at the clock because you ready for this thing to be over. Exactly. Yeah.
But, it's all worthwhile. When people, but the most rewarding thing for me when I give an event, whether it's a party or a show, is when people come to me and say, Dave, man, I really, really enjoyed myself, man. You got, like somebody told me the other day, said, Dave, if you stop doing this, where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? Yeah. I said, wow, that touched me. That really touched me. But I ain't coming back. I'm done.
Yeah, how about that? So what's your demographics like? What's your age group, Dave?
Well, because I have I have children that are, 39, 40, 50. They will come through with their friends and even my friends, and they'll mix it up,
And that's a beautiful look.
So I would say it would be between 40 and 60.
Good. That's a good look, because the bottom line is, I think for my parties, I'm not too much on the 2021, 2022 music. I love a DJ to take.
Wait. Let me stop you right there. Let everybody know this is going to be a Leviticus, Pegasus, Justine's, San Remo, Laughs, Garage, Tribeca, Cheetah, Studio 54 event.
There you go. This is like a slash reunion, retirement, happy birthday, all that.
And I got some surprises.
And good. And what date is this again? We're going to mention this throughout the show.
Saturday, July 30th at the Alhambra Ballroom in Harlem on 7th Avenue, Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard, corner of 126th Street, and between Lenox and Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard, there's an underground parking lot. So if you can't find any parking on the street, you can park there, right behind the Harlem State Building.
Also, yep, exactly.
And we will have food, and we'll be selling food.
Okay, you're gonna be selling food. All right, yeah.
Bottles, food, everything.
Good. So if people want to get tickets, how do they get tickets?
Eventbrite.com, and the code is Leo Birthday Party, Leo Blue and White Birthday Party, or they could catch me on Facebook. I have one VIP table left, maybe 3. I think I have 3 left, and the rest are individuals. They can just tag me or inbox me on Facebook, or go to eventbrite.com. It'd be a lot easier.
Absolutely, yeah. You don't have to chase them around and get that.
I'm not doing much tracing. I'm not going over the bridge for one ticket.
Yeah.
Just saying. I mean, I'll spend more money in gas and tolls for 1-2 tickets than, if you're buying a table, I'll go to freaking Staten Island.
Yeah. Trust me. Let me tell you something. When I used to promote, when I say I used to promote to that level of what you're doing now, what was good about me is I had a good team. It was important that I had a team, and I was good at facilitating and putting the right people in their proper places. Do you have a team, or do you still like to be hands-on with everything?
Oh, no. I have people that I don't know if I could call them a team. I think, I prefer to call them family. Right. And I have people in different parts in Queens, different boroughs, Queens, Staten Island. On the back of the flyer, you will see, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, we can see it right now.
Different places, Staten Island, Jersey, Bronx, Harlem. And
those now you call it your family, but I mean to some others they may call them ticket sellers. But now, let's be clear, ticket sellers are family. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But no, I'm just talking about when I'm at my event.
But I don't use the word team.
Okay.
The team is cool.
You say family. You say family.
I say family. Team is all right. It's almost the same thing.
Yeah, tomato.
Team is the same team.
Tomato. Yeah.
Like you my boy, but you my friend.
Yeah, exactly. You my man, you my brother. Exactly.
You my brother. Yeah.
Exactly.
Same shit.
Exactly.
I cursed. I can curse on this.
Yeah, you can curse on this. Exactly. Exactly. It's YouTube and Facebook Live. Everybody, shout out to everybody.
I'm a cusser, but I don't like to curse and curse in front of women. But I can curse, but I can also speak without cursing, as I've already done.
Exactly. You're a very articulate man. And how about that, right?
I don't know, man. I don't read the dictionary no more.
I know what you mean, brother. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Don't pay me no mind, man. I'm just being stupid.
No, you being funny, brother. You're just being real. This is the one thing. That's why you're here on Real Talk. So this is what we're. And shout out to everybody chiming and watching. People were talking about chorus. Shout out to Cora Mayo. She was like, I remember that PAL that you had mentioned and things of that magnitude. Shout out to everybody that's chiming in and watching. This is Dave Sheppard, DMS Productions. He's doing his 70th birthday party. His last party, he's getting out of the game in partying aspect. He's still evolving, and he's going to be doing concerts. What do you want to disclose where you're going to be doing concerts, or you want to keep that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I had my first really big concert set up in Atlanta at the Energy Carb Center, which is a gorgeous, beautiful place. It holds 3,000 people. That was with Johnny Gill, Karen White, Jesse James, Rodney Perry was the host, and then I had a surprise guest coming in. That was June 6, 2020, and I was going to do an after party at another place called 545 North, gorgeous club that had 3 VIP areas in the club. It holds about 800 people. Anyway, we couldn't do it because of the pandemic, June 6th. So then I shifted over to June 7th or 8th in 2021. Still couldn't do it So I'm in negotiations now with Johnny's people to do it March, because the place I want is all booked up. March 23, 3/23/23. That's a Thursday. Then I'm slated to do Johnny Gill and Karen White, and I'm going to add to that bill with a few other people. Once I can't say who they are until they got a contract in their hands.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that might change.
Yeah, and it can change all the time and different on things. Oh, also a good friend of ours, my sister, your sister, I'm sure too. Allison told me to tell you hi.
Allison, how you doing?
Yeah. We were.
She was on my friend.
Yeah, she was on last night, so she was saying, I don't know if she said she might be listening, she might pop in, I don't know, but the bottom line is she definitely wanted me to convey her hellos to you, and I'm sure if she's in town, she's doing things. I don't know if you know, her and IG have a single together, so she's been really traveling and she's been blessed to be working again to the way that she wants to be working. I'm sure she probably wants more gigs. That's her thing. So, but
there's a few out there that I'm close to that are really doing it with new songs. Yes. Allison is one of them. Melissa Morgan has a nice one out there now. I was talking to her, and Melba Moore.
Shout out to Melba.
Moore has a new one. You know, and I'm happy for her too. And she's been in the game a very, very long time. And
I think Melba's getting her star.
Yes, and me and Deb will be out there too.
Oh, you're going out there?
October.
Oh, that is awesome. Maybe Malika and I might want to go out there because for those
in fact, Bill, I'm going to the Raiders and Bronco game in October 2nd in Vegas. Hang down there with my man Ricky Sobers is in Vegas.
Okay, yes.
From Vegas, we're driving up to the Legends thing.
Yes,
I think Melba's going to be in that.
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to her. Melba Moore's legend. And for those that don't know, you can go on YouTube and look at the interview that I had with Melba. It was a phenomenal interview. Allison and I interviewed her, and it's just a plethora of knowledge and history that she bestowed upon us. And shout out to all the legends like that, her and Allison too. So let me ask you this. You've been doing this promotion for, you said, since 77?
45 years.
Wow. How beautiful is that, right, bro?
It went by fast, man. I wish I could start all over.
Yeah.
Went by super fast, bro.
Paula asked, what's the site for the event? Eventbrite, blue and white? She's asking.
The code is Leo Blue and White Party. You punch that in and it'll bring you right to the site.
Okay.
Leo Blue and White Party.
Leo Blue and White Party. So that's Dave's thing. My man John Eric Brown said 45 years, he's a legend. Absolutely. That's why this segment is a special edition, and I'm doing legends. And
thank you, brother. Thank you, man.
Because I've been doing this myself since 80 something, and I stopped. And the reason why I stopped for multiple reasons. At times I had to take a break because due to the transitions of my family, my mother and my father, work. Also too, I got stuck in a place where I was like, I should have bought something. Scared money didn't make any money at that point. I mean, for those, a lot of people know that, they may have known one fish, two fish is a restaurant. But what I did, it was so funny, the general manager at the time, that was my cheers. And I would go in there and hang out. And
one fish, two fish on Madison Avenue?
Yeah, that was my cheers. Yeah, yep.
I love that place. It's not there anymore, though.
No. So that was my cheers. And
I
was doing a party, and I had passed out some flyers and left them there. And the general manager saw the flyers, and when she was asking the DJ, she was like, the bartender, she's like, who's this person? So he was like, Bill, when he comes in here, she was like, when he comes in here next time, I want to see him, right? So I come in here, she was like, how dare you in here passing out your flyers, I was like, okay, relax. Shout out to my girl, Veronica. I was like, relax. I said, here, this is what I want you to do. I apologize if you felt I disrespected your establishment. But this is my cheers. People come here, they meet me, they buy tickets and stuff of that that magnitude. I said, come to my event. And this is how I got started at the Fish, shout out to Lady D Wells, because I was the first person to put the DJ in there. And then it went from there. I said, come to my event. She came to my event. I did Mike and I did Mars 2112, and we had a line around the corner and stuff. So she came in there. She was like, yo, this is what you really do? I was like, yeah, I told you I'm an extraordinary dude with this. You know what I'm saying, Dave? So she was like, can you put some of these numbers in the Fish? So I said, absolutely, I can do that. So I thought about it for a while, and I'm just giving this a real talk moment for everybody. I said, we do dress up all the time, but I want to have a drink after work before I go home. Because, you know, some people maybe not like to dress up, but some people can come out after work. Because, you know, we're at ages where people have families and, you know, wives or husbands ain't going to go for all that. But they can say they can go out and have a drink after work.
Right.
So what I did on my birthday, I had Lady D Wells play for my birthday at the Fish. And ever since then, it was phenomenal. We tore the Fish up for then on. It became like and people thought I owned the Fish because I was doing it for so much. They did it for so long. Bless you, hon. And with that being said, that was just certain things that we did because I'm probably one of a few people that started doing things in bars and lounges and things like that. I'm sure other people, like, I can't take anything away from the people that were doing Sweetwaters and Honeysuckles and places like that. But, you know, there might have been a gap. And, you know, there's sections and gaps in this. You know what I mean? Because, you know, at that time, I may not have been partying with your age group. But because of this business, we come to meet each other. And then now we develop relationships from this, because the bottom line is our people start intertwining and the ages don't mean a thing too much.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, right.
Let me give you some history. Mm-hmm. I'm going to see if you know this. What was the name of One Fish, Two Fish before it was that?
It wasn't Cockeye Clams. What it wasn't, oh my God. Because there was the owners that owned Cockeye Clams.
I know about that spot.
And
One Fish, Two Fish used to be called Noodle Deanies.
Okay.
And when it was Noodle Deanies, it was further south on the other side of 96th Street.
Yes.
And then it moved down to where it was when you were going there. It was still called Noodle Deanies, but they changed it to One Fish, Two Fish.
Mm.
And Lady D Wells used to, when I hired Reggie to do my comedy shows for DJ, he would send Lady D Wells there to start it up, and he'd walk in late. That's how I met Lady D Wells.
Yeah.
Start off the DJing for my event at Jimmy's Uptown.
Yes.
And then Reggie would come in after that and take over.
Yeah, he was telling me that y'all had a nice run together because he used
on the boat, the Spirit of New York.
Yes, yeah.
And that was with Brand New, Larry and that was Larry and Kawan. And I started collaborating with other promoters.
Right. And sometimes we do that. People, you know what I'm saying? There isn't anything wrong with that. You share that money because, you know, sometimes different things, you know, because I remember, rest in peace, you collaborated with Rudy Marquise. Shout out to
I did with Rudy too. We
rest
did
in peace,
Dugout together, and Tions we did together.
Yes, I remember Tions. Yep. And what I do remember about that is that
shout out to Kevin Shore.
Rest in peace to Kevin Shore. And what I do remember about when you and Rudy did Tions, I think that was he wasn't with Black and Gold anymore, so he was a little nervous. So and then I came down to support him, and he was just like, "Oh, okay." So I was like, "Yeah, Rudy, you know what I'm saying? You could branch out, whether it's good, bad, or how you branch out. You know, in this business, we all sometimes have a little disagreement, and we have to move on and stuff like that. But shout out to the promoters that are not here. You know, Rudy and Kevin Shore and Gene Pendergrass and
Gene Pendergrass. Like just was thinking about him.
Yeah. You know, shout out to
Willie D. A flyer guy on steroids.
Yeah.
Give out flyers all over the place.
And shout out to Hubie that just passed away.
Oh Hubie, right.
Shout out to Hubie that just passed away. So I mean, and shout out to one guy that's definitely It was instrumental in me meeting a lot of people. My man Rand Nicholson, Big Rand, he used to do security for almost everybody at one point, the Red Parrot and stuff like that. And then, he was doing L.A. Reid, when he would come to town. So it's just a beautiful world. And, we've met a lot of people, I'm sure, that we've developed relationships with and friendships from not just the promoter aspect, from the DJs to the people that patronized us, because it was always important for me to make sure. And I want you to talk about that. It was important for me that my people had a good time. Can you elaborate on talk about that for me?
Well, the way I would look at things when I give an event, whether it be a show or a party, especially a show, I'd look into their faces. And my favorite remark was when the show was over, I know you had a good time because I was looking at you laugh all night long. And then they start laughing even more. Say, yeah, I was. And then there's some people that don't crack a smile at all, but they still had a good time watching other people. Some people are people watchers. They get off on just watching people have a good time and then having a drink and sitting back there not doing anything. There's some people like that. Yeah. And then there's some people that are ha-ha and hoo-hoo and really getting down. But I watch my audience, and I'll come up to them. And if somebody I don't know didn't appear to have a good time, I will say, well, how was the show? Oh, yeah, this and that, or not. I mean, you may have some people that didn't enjoy, not that many, 1%. But I would approach them depending on, where I was at and how I felt.
Hey, hold that thought for a second, because it is so funny that you say that. I am a very big component of touching everybody. Like, you having a good time? You good? Like, I do it. Just did it this Saturday. I check my people all the time to make sure they have a good time. And shout out to Ollie Entertainment, Curtis Oliver in the building. He mentioned Ferguson, another person, him and LD all day, all night. So, we've lost a lot. And I mean,
Ollie.
And I don't even know if you knew, like you had mentioned Lady D Wells. At one point I was managing Lady. I was able to get her on the radio station. So that was a beautiful thing in my managerial career. You know what I'm saying?
No, that is.
Yeah, sometimes I was
managers are important, man.
Yeah, and able to keep my hands still on the pulse. Now, I want to ask you a question about Deb. Malika, she didn't know me at the time, and I'll say, well, I've always been successful, but I'm just going to say the pinnacle of my success in promotions. But right now, she is very instrumental in helping me with the brunch party. And like my partner calls her, Arlie calls her like the first lady, and does that. Is Debbie like that too? Because she does know the business.
And it's funny you would say first lady. There's two people that call her first lady.
Exactly.
And she does know the business. In fact, Deb and I collaborated on an event. She has a foundation, Youth Development Foundation, where she gives away scholarships to young ladies that have a 3-point grade average, and she gives away money every year. I don't want to say how much all the time, but she gives away a lot of money.
No,
so
it's my business for some people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we gave an event at the old BB King's club that was on 42nd Street.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Ray Goodman and Brown, Melba Moore, Allison Williams,
right?
The lead singer Ted Mills, just a whole slew of people, and we had all of the she was on the radio at that time too.
Yes.
BLS.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the jocks came down. Man, I can't remember everybody came down.
Well, that's all right, because when you start calling one name, you got to call them all. So
yeah, it was a whole bunch of them. Clay Berry, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was our first show, and that was packed out. The second show, we had Evelyn King Champagne. Mm-hmm. We had Melissa Morgan. We had CeCe Pennison. Oh man, it was crazy. Then we had Melba Moore again.
Mm-hmm.
And that had so many people were paying the top dollar just to stand. The place was crazy. And then we were going to have another show, but then they closed down.
Right.
So we do things together.
Good.
We're planning on something the end of this year. We just got to get it rolling. I'm doing this, and I'm working on the Johnny Gill thing for 3/23/23.
Now, let me ask you a question. I've heard some of the names that you've mentioned, and I know sometimes they become repeat performers. Is it that because you have such a great relationship with them and you love their music? Like Melissa Morgan, Melba, Jeff, Allison, because I would book them all the time myself. I was just asking, like, what's your thought processes? Uh-huh.
Okay, well, that particular show with Evelyn Champagne King and Melissa Morgan and CeCe Peniston, the reason why that show came about is because all three of them were talented teens.
Yes.
Debbie and her late husband, Hal Jackson, used to give for about 40 or 50 years. They used to give these big events for teens that were talented and had a nice school record, GPS of 3 point something.
Yes.
GPA.
GPA. Yeah. Don't hurt yourself with that.
Apples and tomatoes. GPA, average.
I ain't trying to stress you out tonight. It's Tuesday, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm tired. It's past my bedtime.
Yeah, listen. Well, we got about a few more minutes, but listen, the one thing.
No, it's all right. I'm good.
The one thing I have to tell.
As long as I'm hydrated.
Yeah. I have to tell Debbie. I have a picture with Hal giving my mother an award for winning a beauty contest. I told her that. Yes. So shout out to the late Hal Jackson. And shout out to Debbie Jackson, of course. She is a phenomenal sister. And shout out to my beautiful wife in the background doing what she do, working hard. Dave, when it's all said and done, what would you do different? If there's anything you would do different in promotions?
In promotions or just my whole life?
Well, it's about you tonight, so you can pick either one you want to talk about.
I'll tell you something, Bill. All the things that I encountered that were a learning experience, because my life in the projects was, in my opinion, a learning period for me that built who I am today. Mm-hmm. So everything I did, and I wasn't such a good kid in the projects during that time, but everything I learned about life as a young person built who I am today and able to deal with the things that I deal with now, especially in corrections. Because when I went to corrections, for me, it was like being in the projects, but they only had one weapon, and that was a knuckle game. And maybe a shiv or something. They didn't have guns and bats and all that kind of craziness. Yeah. But I think that probably because I like money, and I probably would have furthered my education, as I just wanted to work. I went to Bronx Community College for a year and a half just so I didn't go to the draft. At that time, they were drafting people, going to Vietnam. I had too many friends going and not coming back, and if they came back, they still weren't back because they were messed up. Yeah. So I think I probably at that time, during that time, all you needed was a high school diploma, and you got jobs. You feel me?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's probably the only thing that I regret is that I did not take full advantage of free college. During that time, it was college discovery. I didn't have to pay to go to school.
Yes, and people don't even understand. A lot of people, even the former governor, I think Cuomo, I think was it SUNY or CUNY schools were free, weren't they?
Yeah,
a lot of people don't understand that.
They were free. Yeah, it was called college discovery. I had to keep a C average. Mm-hmm. I kept that C average for a year and a half. And that's all I needed to stay there so they wouldn't draft my ass.
Oh, shit. Let me tell you something. I never forget
they went into the lottery system and shit. I said, I'm free. Lord have mercy, I'm free.
Listen, I remember a recruiter called me one time. He was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "Hey." He was like, "I'm so and so, so and so. I'm a recruiter for this, that." He's like, "I was thinking about coming by. I was in the building, but nobody answered the door, whatever. But I'm thinking about coming by to see you." I said, "You don't have to come see me, bro. Trust me, I'm good. I'm going somewhere, but it won't be the military." You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to the military.
No,
Appreciate everybody that protect and serve the country. But that wasn't my forte. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all, bro.
Not my forte. Listen.
And if you heard the story, I know you know the stories, man. It was crazy.
Listen.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
You're in a foreign land with all these different things in these jungles, that snakes and bugs and crap. It was crazy. Then these guys were very sneaky. They were up in the trees. They were building pits you could fall in with the bamboo shoots. I mean, it was crazy stuff going on there, man.
Very much so, brother. Very much so.
So I didn't want any part of that. So I figured I could keep a C average. I just copy, so I look over somebody's shoulder and copy their ass.
You know what I'm gonna do? One day I might have Malika interview me, because I got a story about me in college with somebody on looking at their paperwork, and they didn't want to give me their paper. I was gonna beat their ass. I was like, yo.
My father used to say to me, "Boy, I hear that. Boy, ain't you gonna study?" "Yeah, I studied enough, Dad. I'm all right. I got a C." Yeah. I got a C. I got enough to keep them paying my books and everything, man.
Yo, isn't it funny though? Now you damn near need a doctorate just to get a job. You know,
a degree, need everything to get a job. And then they ask you, you know what the stupid thing about this doctrine and all this stuff? The last thing they say to you, if they really don't want you, you need experience. Well, how the hell am I gonna get any experience if you don't hire me? God damn it!
Exactly.
If you don't hire me, how am I gonna get the experience?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man. So let me just say this. It is always a pleasure to interview you and my friend and talk to you and converse with you. I just want to talk about when you look back at your careers in the promotion game. Is there something that you wish you would have did then? I mean, God controls it all. You know that. Things align the way they are. I've always said, I wish I would have talked to somebody that would have told me how to flip that money and buy a spot. Right? Because there was no way in hell I was doing 1,500 people to 1,000 to 1,500 people every 6 weeks. And I couldn't put it in my own spot. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's the only thing that I sit back and be like, not that I like my time is come and gone, because I still can do that. I mean, I'm a firm believer now. Over life, I've learned to definitely there isn't anything that I can't put my mind to do that. I just say that to say, is there anything that you wish you would have did back then that, you reached the pinnacle of success? 45 years is a beautiful thing. There are people that are not even 45 years old, and you've thrown parties for over 45 years. So I applaud you and I salute you for that. But is there anything like, say, would you would have wanted to try to do concerts in the 90s or the early 2000s than now?
Well, it's funny you would say that. I always kept it safe. And I thought about that. And I also thought about giving events. In fact, I'll tell you this. My mother's name, her maiden, her southern name is Anna Mae Constance Beasley.
Mm-hmm.
Beasley was her maiden name.
Mm-hmm.
Anna Mae was her first name, real southern name, which she did not like.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tease her and say Anna Mae, and she would give me the look and tell me to get out the room.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't get a quick one inside the head. Yeah,
that too. I have a friend who's still in Charlotte, where my mother was raised. Mm-hmm. Him and I were talking about opening up a dinner club. I brought it to him and call it Ann Mae's after my mother. He was with it. He knew my mother. He liked my mother. And the things that we came up with was having a room similar to Sweetwater's, where you have the bar off to the side behind glass so you wouldn't hear all the people talking. Right. And then have an area for people with tables and chairs and a stage and good home Southern cooking. And we wanted soul food and seafood. Now, I had 4 aunts that were bakers. I had one aunt that made some terrific cinnamon cookies with nuts in it. I had one that made great pies, another one that did the cakes, and then the other one, she did every damn thing. So I was going to name the products, the food, Aunt Essie's cakes, or Aunt Vi's pies, or Aunt Alma's whatever, And then we would have the regular Southern food, like the fried chicken and the grits, and even some veggie stuff for people who are, watching what they eat. And then seafood, all that stuff. We were going to do that in Charlotte. But it was so different back then. Charlotte was just opening up. And in the time that we were going to do was just before they got their Carolina Panthers. Just before they got there. But it fell through, money and all kind of other things. So I did have that in my head to do that, but it just didn't materialize. But I kept it safe with the venues that hold anywhere from 200 to 500, 600 people. And it's just keeping it safe. Now I'm not keeping it safe anymore. I haven't been. The Resorts World Casino cost me a lot of money. I got 1,500 people up in there with a great show. Yeah. Great turnout. That's why I'm going down. Atlanta's my second home. I've been hanging out in Atlanta for over 25 years. Family there, friends there, everything.
Awesome. So, awesome. I think it's awesome. Like you said, for those that are listening, that you have a man that was a father, a husband, a correction officer, law enforcement. I deem correction officers law enforcement, just like PD, because I tell a lot of former PD officers, don't shun them, don't look down upon them, because you wouldn't go in their cell without your gun and badge. So
they wouldn't come into jail without their gun, and they couldn't come into jail with their guns.
Yeah. So I don't even ever understand why there was ever any dissension between the two. That's a whole nother show. But what I say,
I'll tell you about that at another show.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We'll bring you back and we'll talk about that. Yeah. And with that being said, like I said, a father, a promoter, a martial artist. So it's a beautiful thing that you've accomplished a lot, Dave. So and you're still moving and grooving. You beat COVID. We could talk about the prostate too.
I beat COVID twice, bro. I just had it 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I gave it a left, a right, and an uppercut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you did something recently too that was very profound, that you documented, kind of like your bout with prostate cancer.
Yes. I'm a cancer survivor. Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Tell people to check, what do you?
Well, I say, I just want to convey this to all the brothers out there. It's important to reach out to people who have experienced it, so you can get an idea of what methods of care or that you can receive to take care of the prostate cancer. There's all different things you can do. Cyberknife radiation, the pellets, actually taking it out if that's your choice. But there's all different types of things that you can do, and don't be afraid to let somebody know that you're going through stuff. I've talked to over maybe almost 20 people about my situation and got some hellified advice about what to do and what I shouldn't do. And again, in turn, I've talked to other people. Just recently, I told this guy, I said, if the numbers are going up, it's coming. And they may not see it with the biopsies right away, but it's coming, brother. So right now, get on it early. Get on it early so you could eradicate that, because it's curable. You don't have to die from prostate cancer. Right. So that's it. I'm a cancer survivor, man. It didn't beat me. I beat it.
Absolutely. Yeah, very much so. And, full transparency, my father had prostate cancer and he didn't do anything about it. for some time, and then it ended up spreading to bone cancer. So I tell people all the time, I have to be very cognizant and watch that for myself. And like you said, we're at ages now, you and I, we converse about that on the line. We may cut up and joke, but we can still talk about health issues.
Don't be afraid to talk about it, because if it stays inside the prostate, that's a good thing. You can take care of it. Once it gets out, it spreads through the lymph nodes and through your whole body. Then you have to deal with chemo. Chemo sucks you dry. It's not a good way of getting rid of cancer. Chemo is not good. Radiating the prostate with either the pellets or the CyberKnife radiation, and I knew there's some new laser stuff. For me, that's the best way to go. I did not want the invasive operation. The operation is very invasive. They stick all kinds of tubes in your stomach to get to that area which you can touch from the back, and then you wake up with a whole lot of other stuff going on with you. But it does work for some people. Just I wasn't letting that work for me.
Absolutely.
I wasn't going through that.
So what I want to do, I want you to promote this event coming up. I want you to tell everybody about it. And then before you get out, after you do that, I want you to give some people some positive affirmation. You know, you shared a bunch of things. The last few minutes are all yours. After you talk about this event coming up, talk about anything that you want to reminisce about, and then give us some positive love and affirmation. I appreciate everybody. That's DMS. That's my man, David M. Sheppard, martial artist, correction officer, friend, promoter, legendary promoter, my guy. So go ahead, Dave.
The first thing I'm going to start off with is that it's the last Saturday of July, the 30th. You can't forget that. And it will be in Harlem, New York, at the Alhambra Ballroom. That's 2116 Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard on the corner of 126th Street. Doors open at 7:30. We have a live show with talent, one of the kings of comedy. We have a legend in R&B, Grammy-winning Jeff Redd performing his hits. And then we got the best hype man in the city, Will Trax. Shine a light on it. Let me see some footsteps. And then we got DJ Cut 'em Loose Bruce from Brooklyn. And we have Apollo DJ Jess from the Apollo and from Jersey. And they're going to set the floor on fire. I have some surprises for you. I have a friend named Kim Swain, a female friend named Kim Swain from Atlanta, who can sing her butt off. She's going to host the show. She's going to narrate some stuff for you. She's going to bring back some history of DMS. I'm going to have a little slideshow for you. We are serving, you're able to purchase finger food, chicken, shrimp, all that kind of stuff, French fries, bottle service, not open, cash bar.
You
not doing that. Nigga, you know that. Now, see, I didn't even say the whole open. Now, somebody gonna say, you said open bar. Not for $45.
Yeah.
Not for that, buddy. I ain't stupid.
Yeah, exactly. You was about to say open. The only thing that's gonna be open is them doors, right?
That's it. But I'm gonna take this seriously. I'm gonna take the old timers back. I'm gonna start off with new stuff and take the old timers back to those old days at Leviticus and San Remo's and Stardust Ballroom and Savoy Manor, Boston Room Ballroom. We're gonna go way back, man. And this is a Leo blue and white party. So all you Leos, come on down, celebrate your birthday. You can wear either your blues or your whites or a combination of the two. I mean, if you come in there with red, you pay, we're not going to kick you out. We're going to talk about you because you didn't get the memo.
Yeah, because
if you come in there with red, they're going to be looking at you a little side eye, like
because you don't know
what?
Colors. You don't know colors. What's wrong with
you know. Yeah. And like I said, there's parking a half a block away between Lenox and Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard, right behind the Harlem State Building. Is underground parking in the street, all that good stuff. Tickets are still available. I have a few tables left. And if you say you saw my video here, I'll give you a little deal. If you say you saw the Bill Forster interview of Dave Sheppard, I'll give you a little. All you have to do is say that. Inbox me, and you get a little discount.
Oh, listen to everybody. There's a Real Talk moment right there.
Discount,
Don't play yourself. Don't play yourself. You better mention it. You better mention it.
Mention Bill Forster's interview with Dave Sheppard on the Chronicles.
Real Talk Chronicles. You better mention it. Stop playing.
Yep. So that's pretty much it, Bill. All I want to say is, if you come, you're going to have a good time. Absolutely. You're definitely going to have a good time. I'm going to be watching you. You right there. I'm going to be watching you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So this is let me tell you this. I had when I used to. This is the last thing. Okay. When I used to collaborate with other people, my name was Gentleman of Class. I used that name. I wish I forgot to bring my flyer. With Leviticus, I collaborated with somebody. We were called Gentlemen of Class. And that was one of my other names. But DMS Productions stuck with me for a long time. And
absolutely. Dave, before we go, give people some positive affirmation just in life and anything you want to tell them. Just give them some positive affirmation.
Well, the only thing that I can really say is that live your life to your fullest, because this is not a rehearsal.
Amen.
Not a rehearsal.
Amen.
Amen. So just do what makes you happy. And for those people that don't make you happy, just let them stay where they at, and you do what you do.
Yeah. Amen. That's real talk. Paula said they need to be thrown out if they don't have on blue and white. Ollie said it's done. Exactly. Tony M. Man, Tony, I owe you a call. Thank you for coming by the brunch party. Thank you for everybody that came by the brunch party. I saw some of you in here. I appreciate you. Tony M said, I like the reminiscing segment. Absolutely. My man, Ty Poe, I see you. We're just getting in here. We about to get out of here, though. Dave, everybody, that's Dave M. Sheppard. That's DMS, excuse me. That's David Sheppard. His 70th birthday party at the Alejandro Ballroom, July 30th. His last event on the promotional aspect of throwing parties. He's evolving and going into Ty Post said, "What's up, Dave Shep?"
Ty, my man.
that's my guy. Ty.
All right.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, Ty, give me a call, man. I gotta talk to you.
Absolutely. Shout out to Ty. For real. Ty is one of my definitely brothers in blue, and also a good supporter. Comes by and hangs out with me at the brunch parties. And with that being said and saying all that, this was a special edition, Legends and Promotions. That was David Sheppard. Shout out to the sponsors, Reggie Wells Quality Speakers, Soft Illusions Art Gallery behind me.
Malika, take care, my dear.
He said.
Malika, see you at the barbecue.
Exactly. See you at the barbecue.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Delhi Arts and Survival Magazine, Ingram Taxes, Melba Wilson's restaurant, and also Leon Ellis. The shirt I had on, if you see it in the pictures, with The Loneliest Monk, that was from Leon Ellis, Harlem Underground. This is Real Talk Chronicles, David Sheppard. We're out of here. See you tomorrow. You know we're gonna chop it up Wednesday. We got Kevin and some others maybe coming. Might have a guest come in. We're gonna talk it out. Dave, say goodbye to everybody and stay on. We're gonna go in the green room for a minute.
Okay.
All right. Good night, everybody.
One love.